Do do I even really need to say anything? I think I think you guys could just know me on this channel well enough to already know what I'm going to say about this show. And I already saw people commenting on my other videos saying, "What is you gotta review SmackDown, you gotta do it." And you know what the funny thing is? It's not because they want me to talk good about the show. But they know how I feel about the current state of the product. And you just know with a show like this that you know that you're gonna get an enjoyable review. Of course, it's guaranteed. But you're not expecting me to say that, this is great, this is a revolution. There's NXT on the show, baby. Right? Am I cool now because I said an Adam Rose phrase right there? I mean, I'm an Adam, and an Adam Cole Mark. They say Adam Rose. I guess Adam Rose is probably more charismatic than Adam Cole. But yeah, I'm an Adam Cole Mark, baby. Right? Like, first of all, isn't that Kofi? Nah, we're not even talking about that. Anyway, let's talk about this show and the NXT Invasion. Because, first of all, okay, they announced the previous, technically day, not really night, but at Crown Jewel, because the show was at what was it, 1 p.m. or something like that. It started. They announced that NXT was going to be a part of the Raw versus SmackDown usual crap fest that they do at Survivor Series. And, here's the funny thing about this. It's like I couldn't leave well enough alone. I'm saying, what was it like in my Raw review, I believe I said, what are they going to do with Survivor Series? They're going to do the same Raw versus SmackDown show, right? Go back and listen to what I said. I said they're probably, even though these wrestlers have to pretend like they're loyal to their brand, and they've only been on these shows for not even a month, and they're supposed to feel passionate and fight for their brand, So instead, it looks like what they're going to do now is team up both Raw and SmackDown to go against NXT. At least I think that what is happening. I can't see them doing some big, weird, triple threat tag type of thing. I mean, first of all, Survivor Series is just giving me a headache even thinking about it at this point in time. It's like a month away, not even. Probably in 3 weeks or something that show's going to be. And I just already know that I'm not going to like it. So, here we go. So this is the big return to big reviews for me. And, whatever. It's for the subs, right? So, here, I'm doing it for my subscribers. And so let's just start from the top, right? So at least the opening segment didn't have anything to do with NXT. Brock Lesnar quits. So right away, we've got the draft. Heyman, okay, this promo was a little bit better than his normal standard fare. This guy is a total cartoon character. Like Vince Russo always says, I mean, this guy is, I gotta hand it to him. At least he's animated. He stands out amongst the rest. And, so this was better than normal. But he buries the whole draft and says that there's contracts that only Raw superstars could be on the Raw show because of USA, and only SmackDown stars could be on SmackDown because, or be on Fox, because of the Fox deal. And it just shows you that this imaginary, draft thing and exclusive superstar thing is a complete joke. And there was no reason to have such a crappy episode of SmackDown dedicating it all to a draft when they're just going to have wrestlers move around anyway. And they're going to have teams teaming up anyway. They're going to be mixing in the Raw and SmackDown guys as it is. and then they inconvenienced themselves because The Fiend couldn't interact with Seth Rollins for weeks before Crown Jewel. And then now you've got Lesnar now has to quit. Cain Velasquez is nowhere to be found after losing within 2 minutes to Lesnar at Crown Jewel, which I wasn't even surprised by, but go watch my Crown Jewel review if you want to hear what I've thought about that. He's going there so he can hunt down Rey Mysterio, who, hit him with the chair at Crown Jewel a bunch of times. Now, unless Cain Velasquez is going to come out and help Rey at, are they going to have a match at Survivor Series? Is Rey going to sit out the brand warfare matches, so he could wrestle Lesnar? Maybe, but he has no credibility. Cain Velasquez losing in 2 minutes. It's I don't even care. So Velasquez was barely even a blip, on the radar of Paul Heyman, during this promo. It was mostly about getting revenge on Rey Mysterio. So if you ask me, they're ready to move on. Unless they've got something planned where Velasquez and Lesnar are going to go at it at Mania, and that's going to be the real match. But at this point, can I ask a question? Who really cares? Obviously, not anyone, because the ratings have been dropping. So it shows you, it doesn't matter if you've got a real fighter, Cain Velasquez, a popular UFC star. So it doesn't matter anymore. It's the same thing with Ronda Rousey. It didn't matter. If you don't put these people in interesting situations on the show, then they're not going to watch. Just by saying you have a big name on the show is not enough to draw people in. The big name needs to be doing something. It needs to be, they need to be actually doing something entertaining or, something that's eye-catching. You didn't get any of that. And that match was not helping at Crown Jewel. But anyway, so it's okay, Lesnar quits. He walks out. This was total clickbait also if you saw it on YouTube. Because you think that he's going to quit like WWE. If you first see this, you probably thought he was going to give up the title and all that. Then we get Bayley defeating Nikki Cross. And you kind of expected this. This was just really there was build up because, Nikki Cross won a match to get to this match. And, there was a little bit of a face-to-face with them. So it wasn't exactly a completely cold match, but it certainly felt like a cold match. And did anyone really care? And after all these matches of so many kickouts and everything, this just ends with a simple finisher from Bayley, which was, refreshing to see, but it really shows that, Nikki Cross doesn't get to do that kick out stuff. Everyone else does. So she's really low. Why did they even give her this opportunity? You know what I mean? Obviously they don't hold her in such high regard, because that's how I look at it. I don't like the kick out stuff, but if that's the person not doing it, then it shows that person's very low on the totem pole, and they really didn't have anything. There's nothing going for this girl. You took away her psycho gimmick, the one thing that made anything about her stand out. And she's a nobody. She's just Nikki Cross. All women are beautiful. Remember that? Then Shayna Baszler comes out, beats everyone up. And here we go. Here's the NXT Invasion, guys. And it's oh my God. And I don't know who that guy Pat was at ringside. Why don't we have Mauro Ranallo? This is the perfect time to use him. If Michael Cole and Corey Graves are stuck over there, you give us what's his name? The guy that I was happy wasn't on SmackDown anymore. The boring guy that I can't even remember his name. Byron, sex addict is there. And but wait, no, it was Renee Young. I don't know what I'm thinking of with. But Byron was there at certain portions of the show. I think, didn't I hear him? Or was that a Crown Jewel? I don't know. Like, the two nights are just going. No, that was Crown Jewel. But anyway, that's who it was. It was Renee Young, that former SmackDown guy that I can't even remember his name, and this guy Pat that had like the most annoying voice I've ever heard in my life. Even more annoying than Seth Rollins, and I'm not even joking. It was like this really annoying British accent type of deal. I don't know what that was, but like it just made it so much worse. And then you've got Renee Young. I heard her at like one point in the night. She's like, "Hey, we're doing such a great job." Oh my god, why? Oh my god. Like, I never thought that I would be begging for Corey Graves and Michael Cole, but this was definitely one. Like, could you not get the King out there? Like, honestly, why is Mauro Ranallo not out there? I've even heard Jason Albert, A-Train did a way better job on commentary. You can't get one of those people to do the commentary? Put Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is there. Put him on commentary. No, they don't do that either. I don't know who else is back there that you could get. I'm sure there was somebody better who would have sounded better than these goofballs. Then we get Sami Zayn, who's backstage, and he's talking about this NXT invasion thing. That they're going to be involved, I guess, at the Survivor Series, and Sami Zayn is like talking bad about NXT. Then Keith Lee and Matt Riddle show up. Old Big Mouth is here, right? And Goldberg's a band wrestler. So this guy's here. Now, I gotta say, I really enjoyed Sami Zayn here. I think he did a really good job on the mic. This, to me, was probably one of the best parts of the show. I think it was pretty much the best part of the show. I really, really liked it. Like just his reactions, the way how they showed up, and he sees the size of Keith Lee, and he realized Matt Riddle's much taller than him, and it's like, he's like, "Oh, guys, I was just kidding," and everything, and he says, like, "Let me go get my NXT shirt." It was funny stuff. They follow him to the ring. They beat the living daylights out of him. Zayn did a good job. I mean, I will tell you this. He is really good on the mic. He has improved so much. The heel turn was the best thing for him. And I think now that he's had a little bit of time to get into this character that he's doing, just being like a cowardly, like fast talking con artist type of thing, this is good. I cannot believe that I am saying this, but Sami Zayn is one of the few people on the roster who has actually managed to get a character over. And it's probably all due to him, because I've been watching him, and he was not good on the mic at all. He sounded horrible, generic. Even when he first started the babyface, the heel run. Forget about when he was a babyface. That was beyond horrible. But the heel stuff, it left a lot to be desired. But now he's really like doing a lot of good facial expressions, different tones of voice. He's good at like, he's annoying in a good way. And I really, I like it. And I hope they continue it. And it seems like he has continued it so far. And I like it, They've been keeping him out of the ring. And, I think this guy really works better as a manager, to tell you the truth. Now, I know that's going to anger a lot of smarks, but, that's just the fact. I think he's a better talker than he is a worker. It's Miz TV, and the Miz was supposed to have The Fiend or Bray Wyatt on here. Instead, we get to old Tabasco sauce. Okay, Tommaso Ciampa, I'll say his name right. Now, I will say that this guy, after he came back from the injury, happy to see he's doing well. The neck is doing good. He's got a really nice build, this guy, more than the other NXT guys. So he's definitely more believable. He's not like a small, tiny guy. Face-wise, I'm not really feeling this guy like looking like a star. You know, he looks okay. The Miz talks about how he has always been asked about having a mic battle. You know, who's the best on the mic, him or Ciampa? It's the Miz. Who said Ciampa is one of the best on the mic? What? Like, when? How? Where? What? When was he ever better than the Miz on the mic? There's very few people who were better than Miz on the mic who could string words together. And he's like blowing him away here. The Miz is obviously in another class here. And they're saying that. They're trying to make that comparison. Of course, Tommaso Ciampa goes on to beat the Miz. Okay, Ciampa is not a spotty guy. So I will say that, you know, everything here looks pretty good, pretty believable. I mean, it looks like he's selling. I just, you know, I don't know. I've seen this guy. Not a big fan. I scan my eyes. We'll leave that to the end, okay? So the Miz loses. You know, just like that. Just like that. Just loses. You know, it's done, over. The Miz, he's worked all these years in WWE. This guy comes along and he manages to beat the Miz. Like, okay. So we're not done yet, guys. Hold on a second here. So backstage, we've got Daniel Bryan walking along. He's asking Triple H what is he doing there. He challenges Triple H to a match. Triple H backs down, says he doesn't have his gear. He's in the suit. I was like surprised by this. They actually made Triple H cower before Daniel Bryan. Then they tease a little bit of HBK, but that, of course, they're never going to give us that match. Instead, we get Adam Cole. Like, what a step down. Like, Triple H? No. Shawn Michaels? No. Adam Cole? Great. Like, this is who... We're getting old baby, right? Like, God. So this is who we're going to watch. And you already know, before you even see it, what they're going to do here. Like, I don't even need to complete this review, and you already know the result of the match that they're going to do here. The NXT title's on the line. It tells you all you need to know. Who's going to win it? Then we've got Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose are scheduled to have a match against Dana Brooke and Carmella. But Bianca, whatever her name is beating them up backstage. And Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox beat them in a match. And like, you already knew how this match was going to go. You know, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville usually lose anyway. Hey, remember when that Fox, you know, announcer said, hey, you know, I think that, you know, Sonya Deville is going to be the wild card, right? She's going to be that underrated pick. Yeah, how's that working out? You know, I knew that guy was talking out of his backside when he said that. That was no, like, clue or, like, insider info. That was just some total kayfabe nonsense that he just said in passing. They have no plans for Sonya Deville. And, you know, like, okay, now Rhea Ripley, I will say, I think that Shayna Baszler definitely looks like she belongs. Rhea Ripley, I'm kind of digging it. I think she's got a tough look. Now, this Negan Fox looks like a total nobody. Why were they paired together? Shouldn't Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler, shouldn't they be together? They kind of look like they'd be a good team together. But, you know, what do I know? I don't watch NXT. You don't know what you're talking about, right? So, I guess I don't. So, I don't know. But this Tegan Fox, I don't know. Like, where did she come from? I've never even heard of her. Like, Rhea Ripley, I know. I'm sure someone's going to tell me in the comments, you don't know who Tegan Fox is? No, I know who Alicia Fox is, and she's a legend, right? Remember that? Anyway, let's move on. Triple H and HBK come out to watch the next match, and Stephanie is here, guys. Oh, it's great, right? Stephanie's here. We're burying the WWE roster with NXT with developmental guys. We're burying our roster. Why not dig a bit more dirt on top of it by saying what a wonderful moment it was at Crown Jewel when we had two female wrestlers dressed up to their teeth in clothing. There was like no possible way, like the only way that they could be clothed anymore, is if they put like gloves on them and then put a veil over their head, because like that's all that was left to show with the girls. So if you want some more details, go watch my review or watch the match, for God's sakes, of Natalya and Lacey Evans. I would say it's worth it just so you can see what they made these girls do. I mean, it was really for a company that promotes female empowerment and then being role models to little girls. There's some BS story about this being empowering to the women of Saudi Arabia because women wrestled for the first time in front of a Saudi crowd. I think it's a bunch of malarkey. This is what I think it is. I think it's a bunch of hooey. I think it's a bunch of nonsense is what I think it is. It's a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of garbo is what it is. Trash. That is what it is. And so with that said, she comes out, she plays this clip of Natalya saying, what a special moment it was. And they were crying at Crown Jewel. Crying. Because they were so happy about this. And I don't think that they were faking it. I think they were really emotional about it. But like, I'm just saying, there's smart people like Daniel Bryan who will not touch this event with a 1,000-foot pole because they don't believe that wrestling in Saudi Arabia and participating there is the right thing to do because of the culture there and the suppressive nature of it. So Daniel Bryan, one of their own talents, sits it out. So does a bunch of other talents that disagree or just don't want to go. So more power to them. I respect them more than a lot of these other money-hungry talents that they have who are just looking for a payday and they'll sacrifice their values. I already talked about last year about how I felt about The Undertaker going on over there. But anyway, it's a special moment and everything like that. They're super proud. They're patting themselves on the back. It was a great moment for women. They're making up things as they go along. Good for us. Look, we all know what the story is here. You're kowtowing. You're bending the knee. You're kissing the ring. You could say whatever term you want. They're making billions of dollars off this deal with Saudi Arabia, doing shows over there, the 5-year deal. That's all they care about. So they want to look good in their eyes for the next time they come back. Then we get Adam Cole defeating Daniel Bryan in the match. And, like, I'm not going to lie and say it was a terrible match because, it's a Daniel Bryan match, so I like the match, and he's holding it together. But this Adam Cole, talk about going way overboard. Like, this guy, like the Daniel Bryan parts with the suicide dive and everything, like, so much energy, him banging the mat before the knee. There's just so many things I like about the style that he brings to the table. He really separates himself from all the other indie workers and everything. It's like he was in a league of his own. And the fact that, like, they're barely doing anything with this guy after he showed them so much during his heel run, it's an embarrassment. It's like they should be embarrassed for treating him this way. But anyway, this guy, he hits like 3 moves. And, a Canadian destroyer from the top rope isn't enough. And plus, you're going to do that move. You're going to pile drive. A move that was once banned in the WWE after Stone Cold Steve Austin was almost paralyzed, which he was temporarily paralyzed, technically, due to a pile driver. Due to a sit-out pile driver from Owen Hart. Remember that? Remember it was banned because of that? There wasn't going to be any more pile drivers, where guys' heads, are wedged between the legs, but there you go, Adam Cole delivering a pile driver, and not just any pile driver, a flip Canadian Destroyer sunset flip pile driver to Daniel Bryan. This guy just returned not even 2 years ago after retiring because of his of concussions, of a bad neck. The guy had lesions on his brain, and you're going to give this guy one of the most vicious looking pile drivers. Yes. The answer to that question is yes, of course they're going to pile drive him, right? It's not like this guy could get re-injured, have to retire again. It's not like this guy could, end up in the hospital. It's not like the guy could end up paralyzed. Not like he could break his neck. Not like he could get, brain damage and end up brain dead. No, of course not. Of course not. There's no way that can happen. I mean, like I'm saying, like if it happened once, why are you doing this? And then he's got to hit, just and then it's AEW style. Hit 2 more moves. You could have just pinned him after that, but then you have to do a stupid kick at the end and all this, like a knee to the back. Like what? It's so overboard, totally overblown, totally overdone. And of course, so now you have the developmental champion beating Daniel Bryan on the show. Fantastic. Great. Thanks for burying the whole roster. Now, I don't know if this show is going to go similar. It might have, because they did announce it on Survivor Series, but they did make a lot of changes because of the flight delays. So that's why this show turned out the way that it did. That's why you were missing a lot of key players, and of course you didn't have the Fiend on there. Now that's also interesting because the Universal title is the Raw title. So I guess that's probably the plan. They're probably going to have the Universal title. The red belt is coming to SmackDown, and the blue and the other belt is going to Raw. Well, I guess because it's not blue anymore, right? But the other one's red, so that's kind of weird. But anyway, so that they're going to be do-si-doing titles. So I guess the Fiend was going to come on there, and we've can you imagine we would have had the Fiend instead of old Tabasco sauce out there? That would have been so much better. And we've got the Miz crediting Ciampa for doing all this great mic work, and instead, we could have had the Fiend. But thanks, we have to do the show in Saudi Arabia. Everyone gets held over there. Dirt sheet writers are making conspiracy theories. Like the WWE is being held against their will or something. Guys, it's just flight delays. It's happened to them before. It happened again. So, and it will probably happen in the future. It's not a conspiracy. It's just something that happened because they're flights. It happens all the time here in the U.S. It happens in Europe too. Flights get delayed. It's inconvenient. It pisses people off. It's been a big problem that's been reported by the media numerous times. It's not a big secret thing. But you could only imagine how this show would have went otherwise. People were saying that this was probably going to be the best show in years. And they were thanking God above because the wrestlers were delayed. Never mind their safety, never mind their well-being, making sure that they get home safe and everything. All these wrestlers who have spent years, remember, they sacrificed their bodies. That's what those people say. And here they are celebrating because wrestlers are stuck, thousands and thousands of miles away in a foreign country. And they're not even worried about their well-being. It shows what kind of people they are. They're like, yay, now we'll get a good show because Triple H is going to take over the show because McMahon's not there. And you see, I told you. Now, there's people saying that this was the best SmackDown in a long time. Was it really? Was this really one of the best SmackDowns of all time? Can you really clearly say that? If you're an NXT mark, of course you're going to say that. You're going to say you love this show. I'm sure JD, I haven't watched his review yet. I'm sure he's going to be all over this show. He's probably going to tell you it's been the best show that's ever been done. He's going to probably say it was a better show than the first SmackDown that aired, on UPN. He's probably going to tell you that. NXT is everything, right? That's the greatest of all time. The work is so much better nowadays. Like, what an absolute farce. What a joke this show was. All you saw was a bunch of amateurs, a bunch of people that, like, you really see, like, in the absence of Roman Reigns, like, that there's nobody good on the roster. You've got a bunch of jokers here. I won't hand it to, you got Daniel Bryan trying to pull a good match out of a spot monkey. You've got, The Miz trying to get through his segment with Ciampa there, who's lacking charisma. You got Sami Zayn, who was really, like, delivering a good performance backstage. So there were a certain couple of moments here that were good. Heyman started sounding original. He didn't say spoiler alert or anything stupid like that. So, there were certain parts that were good. But the whole fact that they had to make this so cringy, but then how did they end the show? Right? How did they end the show? Triple H gets in the ring. Because we're not done yet. Triple H gets in the ring, and he's got all the stars surrounding him. All the bozos from NXT are in the ring. Everyone's celebrating. And he's like, we're going to take the war. We are NXT. Like, bro, buddy, it's like you own a piece of WWE. NXT is part of WWE. It's even called WWE NXT. But, like, you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of nobodies. And we're making like this is NWO for life. Like, what a joke. And I've got people see in the comments on the WWE YouTube on that video saying, that gave me chills. It gave me chills too. Because I am scared for the future of this company if Triple H ever takes over. And I always laugh every single time I see people talking about, how great this company is going to be, once Vince McMahon passes away or steps down. More likely pass away, where he hands the torch over to Triple H. People think that it's going to be the greatest thing to ever happen to WWE, because we all know that means that NXT it's going to be written exactly like NXT, which means that it's going to be a horrible indie show. He would turn, I just don't get it. Triple H has always been this old school guy. The fact that Evolution was supposed to be like a modern day Four Horsemen. They even had Ric Flair there mentoring him, being his manager. This guy was dominant. He never did any high spots. It was always like a ground-based brawling attack type of thing. Dressing in suits and everything, always like with the style and always using psychology and always knowing how to cut a promo and always, doing business for himself and, never putting him in a spot to look weak or anything like that. Like, this is a guy who knew the business. This is a guy that, conducted himself professionally. He knew what he had to do in the ring. He knew what he had to do outside the ring, right? Somehow, some way, he became this, like, wrestler hugging, SJW, Mama Luke. And really, like, I hate this guy. I really, like, am starting to really dislike Triple H. I mean, this guy was, he was great during, like, the year 2000 and 99. What a great over heel. No one could get the heel reception that Triple H got during those times. During the year 2000, he was one of the most hated wrestlers. People loved to hate Triple H. He was over as one could be. And, this guy, like, I don't know. It's almost like he was a different person. He cut all his hair off. He got himself a suit. And he changed his whole perspective. I don't know. He started having lunch with the Marks. He started, telling people that this is the future of WWE. A bunch of guys doing tope suicidas, in every single match. That's wrestling. What happened to the psychology? What happened to the good promos? What happened to character development? What happened to protecting stars and protecting the business and all this stuff and for the fundamentals, right? Remember all that stuff? What happened? What happened to that? I don't know what happened to that. I think only Triple H has the answer to that. But all I know is this is complete garbage. And this little speech at the end was super, we are NXT. Like, first of all, like, that was so cheesy. And people legitimately were eating this up. Go look at the comments. Go look at Twitter. Go look at YouTube. Go look at Instagram. People thought that this was legitimately one of the best shows they've ever seen. And I find that to be a little bit disheartening. That people like think that this is good, that this is the way how they want the wrestling product to go. And I know that this is the usual suspects saying this. These are the people who are currently watching. This is not casual fans. And people are also saying that this worked because the ratings went up. No, the ratings went up because the show was back on Fox. It wasn't on FS1. It's kind of easy, when your show returns to its normally scheduled program time, right? I mean, these goofballs on the internet, they'll try anything they can to try to get this garbage NXT over, I swear. And it doesn't matter. Triple H sacrificing WWE talent. Sacrificing The Miz, sacrificing Daniel Bryan, having your champion get beat down by a developmental girl, the women's champion. I mean, what are you thinking? What are you doing here? Like, I understand that this was like, you were working with your supposed B team tonight, I guess, but like there were some people on there. Like Bryan was just a champion not too long ago. Bayley's your current women's champion. You just turned her heel. And who else did they bury on this show? And The Miz. I mean, this guy's been your best heel for years. And there you go, burying him. I mean, like, what was gained from this show? What did they think? I get it. They want to cross-promote the USA show and the Fox show and it be all one big happy family. But this show was a disaster. I seriously can't believe that I have to come here on YouTube and say this while people are praising and bowing down to the show. Thank you, Triple H. Thank you for saving SmackDown. Thank you, Triple H, for completely ruining SmackDown. It was very impressive that you managed to ruin an already ruined show. How is this possible? How can a show get even worse that's already the worst it could possibly be? Leave it to Triple H. And the funny thing is that people cannot wait till he takes full control of this. I mean, people are crazy. They're out of their mind. They're cuckoo. They're bananas to think that this guy, the game, is going to save the WWE. Like, I just don't know how you watch this and you think that this is good stuff. This is quality television. You know what I mean? Guys that you've been watching for years, buried, losing, put in a spot where they're made to look weak. And I don't care what you say, NXT is the developmental territory. There's a reason why they're not on Raw, why they're not on SmackDown. You could say, oh, it's a separate brand. It really isn't. It's developmental. It was FCW. It was NXT. It was already. Why do you think they say that people are called up? Why do you think people say that? Not because it was based out in Florida, but they're called up also because they're moving up. They're being promoted to the main roster, not demoted, not doing a transfer. It's called a promotion. Okay? Anyway, guys, so yeah, Survivor Series, it's going to be great. You got a bunch of developmental guys, a bunch of nobodies. Triple H is there with a bunch of guys that are like not even trying to look tough. There's no facial expression. Like Shayna Baszler is like the only one, or Rhea Ripley, that seems like they do any business for themselves. They at least try to look tough, look angry, look like they're big, tough girls and everything that could do some damage. But that's about it. You got Matt Riddle, stupid smile on his face. Like, come on. Honestly. Anyway, guys, what did you think of the show? Do you really think that this was one of the best SmackDowns of all time? Or in recent memory? Your memory must not be too good if it is. No, I'm just kidding. If you enjoyed it, more power to you. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good time watching it, because I know I sure didn't. Well, but let me know in the comments anyway. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell, do what you gotta do. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.